Going on, beautiful people? It's been a minute since we did. Yeah, I don't think I've gone live since the last game of the playoffs and the Bulls got eliminated. So it's been a minute since we've been live. We're back. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna kick it. I missed y'all. So I said we're gonna be doing periodic lives over the course of the off season. On my gotta fix that one. But yeah, I said we're gonna be doing these lives periodically over the course of the season. So first one, just a random live. We're gonna be talking about some things. Not a lot of news. This is one of the things about uh the off season. What the time where your team is either not in the playoffs or got eliminated from the playoffs before like the actual free agency and the lead up to the draft and all that start. It's a really, really dead time. And all you hear, especially from Bulls Nation, is a lot of crazy ass, ridiculous ass trade ideas. That's really what it boils down to. And it's crazy because some of the trade ideas that some of these Bulls fans have on social media is ridiculous. Like just taking no account for anything other than them just wanting to play or trade for certain people. It's out of this world. It's crazy. But that's the nature of the game. Um, but that's the nature of the game. So it kind of is what it is. Got to take the good with the bad, or the good with the crazy, I should say, because it's not really bad, so to say. But like some of these trade ideas is just crazy, man. Just crazy. But hey, it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and get into some of these comments. We got Tyler in the building. He says, "Hey, Haize, what's going on, Tyler?" Andre Nelson says, "Yo, what's going on, fam?" Matt Campbell says, "Favorite centers in the draft." Well, that's the thing. I don't think the Bulls are going to go center in the draft. If the Bulls keep the pick, I don't even expect the Bulls to keep the pick, honestly. I think they're going to trade the pick. But if the Bulls do keep the pick, I think they're going to go best available. Everything as far as a need on the team, meaning that something they need to take the team to the next level. I think they're going to be going after for veterans. If they keep the pick, I think they're going to try to take the best player who they think is available for every chance at a bite at the apple of somebody developing into a superstar. So that's what I think that they'll do. I don't think they're going to address the backup center role in the draft, especially when picking at 18. I could be wrong on that, but as we get closer to the draft, like I said, I'm really going to wait till after the playoffs to really start breaking down and getting into the nitty and gritty of some of the draft talk and things like that. So be on the lookout for that. I'll have the content for you. Don't worry about it. I'll have it for you. But just as of right now, I'm not sure that the Bulls are going to go center in the draft. I'm just not sure. But I will say around the 18th pick, if depending on how things shakes out, it could be possible that Mark Williams from Duke is at that 18th pick. And I will say if the Bulls are looking for a center in the draft, I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't be mad at that pick. Now, that's a potential pick, right? That's not somebody who can come in and contribute right away. And I just don't know if they're going to go that route, especially with Marco on the roster. But with that said, that's not somebody that I'll shake my head at if the Bulls do decide to draft. So there you go with that one. Shay in the building. What's going on, Shay? How are you? 6266 Jamal. Any chance you do a random call-in show maybe to discuss the offseason moves with fans? Yes. So we will have just set in after the draft. So I'll have a live stream. Half of that live stream will be me talking about the Bulls, whoever they do draft or make moves that they make. And then part of it will be a call-in show. So that's going to happen. Free agency. So as you guys know, if anybody was around when I was doing free agency this year, this is really when I started was free agency. I'm going to drop videos every time the Bulls drop a free agent. So literally within minutes usually of the Bulls announcing a free agent signing, I'll have a video dropped. But then when free agency is kind of over, right? When everything kind of takes place and looks like they're pretty much done making moves, we'll do a call-in show there as well. Bro, did you ever find out why you were so sick? Doctors couldn't figure out what my issue was for like a week, but I'm coming back from pneumonia. No, never, never. Nobody ever could really tell me what it was, and it sucks. So, but I'm on the other side of it now. I still have a little congestion, but other than that, I'm on the other side of it now. If the boys should look for anybody in the draft, you should look at backup power forward in terms of backup center. Kevin Looney is going to be a free agent. He's going to be too much money for the Bulls. Too much money for the Bulls. I expect. Zach Lasagna says, "Yo, Haize, what's up? What's going on?" MJ says, I have no doubt that Zach stays. However, Kobe for Kuzma. What do you think? To get Kuz, you may have to add Tony Bradley or a pick. Well, the Bulls don't have a lot of picks to add. So if he gets to a pick because of the number of picks that the Bulls have already sent out, that's already going to be a no-go for me. I don't think Kuzma, I like Kuzma. Don't get me wrong. And Kuzma, especially this season, showed some things. But I don't even know if Kuzma's the level of player that I'd even give up the 18th pick for. Now, Kobe, I think it's going to take more than that, unless they just really see Kobe and his potential and say, "Hey, we really think Kobe's going to develop into something." I don't think Kobe would be enough to get that done. Now, Washington, if Bradley Beal decides to pull some weight and get up out of there and they go full rebuild mode, they may want to take as many young players in as possible to see who can develop into a star. That's really the only way that I can see a Kobe for Kuzma deal kind of happening. And even then, I don't know if the money works out. You'd have to throw in some other things. What's Kuzma's contract right now? Let's take a look at that real quick. Do some real on the fly. So yeah, Kuzma's $13 million right now. So Kobe's contract it gets you close, right? So Kobe's, I think he'll be about 8 million next season. So you need to factor in another 4 to 5 million to make the contracts work. And Tony Bradley doesn't get that done either. He's on a minimum. So I don't know. Like, I'm not completely shaking my head at Kuzma. I just think if they're going to go after more of a center or somebody who can play center slash four next to Vooch, next to Patrick Williams. And I don't really know if Kuzma, especially at that money with Zach Levine getting an extension, if that works. So I don't know if that's going to be something. Sup, Haize, talking trash, trade talk. I'm hearing all of this trade, Zach for AD crap. Honestly, does anybody think AD is the number one option anymore? Keep in mind, it's money, and this is the thing about Bulls fans. They have no consistency. They are so tunnel vision in whatever the narrative is, right? And usually it's a rumor. Something starts with the seed of a rumor, and the non-intelligent Bulls fans then just convince themselves that that's what has to happen, right? How many times have you seen somebody say now, we need AD? AD's been less healthy than Zach Levine over the last handful of years. That's just that. Like, I get it. When AD is healthy and on, he's one of the best players in the NBA. But that you can't bet on that anymore. So for the Bulls fans who don't want to bet on Zach because of his knee, but you want to bet on a player who's been less healthy than Zach Levine in AD, that just doesn't make any sense. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. I will sit here and guarantee you that Zach Levine is not going to the Lakers. And even if he does go to the Lakers, which isn't going to happen, it's not going to be AD is not going to be a Chicago Bull. It's not happening. Mark Williams is a no-brainer free job. 7, athletic, long wingspan. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And looking at the mock drafts that I've looked at, some have him going much earlier, but some have him going around the 16th, 17th spot. Now, again, that still isn't putting him at 18th for the Chicago Bulls. But if it were to happen, if something were go, because with all it takes is for a team to trade up to move up, and it completely throws off the way that the draft goes. If Mark Williams right now, the mock draft that I use more times than not, it has Mark Williams going at 17. That's the pick right before the Chicago Bulls to the Houston Rockets. I just can hope that he falls. If Mark Williams falls to number 18, you got to trade Marco. Don't even worry about it. We don't give a damn how Marco develops. Like, you got to develop everything into Mark Williams. Now, like I said, he's not going to be, keep in mind, guys, they still going to have to go after a veteran center, especially if they want to compete now. But when you look at Vooch being off the books in a year, he probably still won't be ready in a year, but in a year, 2, 3 years tops, that's your starting center in Mark Williams. That is your starting center in Mark Williams, a young, athletic runner, and that has some shooting ability, right? You can develop that shot. That would be fun. Timber said, why not? We have too many guards and Kobe can't shoot. I think Kuz would be a nice fit. Besides, he did hit on Twitter. But it's the money. It's more than just that. Like, people can say they would want to be all day. It's the money. It's the money. $13 million for Kuzma. While not, like, I think that's underpaid for Kuzma, to be quite honest with you. And if what he showed last season becomes how Kuzma is for the rest of his career, that's underpaid for Kuzma. But I don't know if the Bulls can pull out a deal that works, right? Unless you guys are willing to give up Javante. Would you be willing to throw in Javante Green in a Kobe White deal to get Kyle Kuzma? But even then, I still wouldn't give up the 18th pick with that as well. So that may be a non-starter. Carnell, been working a lot, missed a lot. Proud of your all success. Congrats on all. See red and we bleed red. Absolutely, brother. Y'all can tell Haize feeling better. His beard is glowing again. No, you know what it is though? All jokes aside. So because my beard is darker in the winter, like the freaking brown and shit all comes out in the summer. It's crazy. Brandon Peck in the building. What's going on, Brandon? This is true. This is from MJG23. Seeing potential in Kobe sounds like something Washington would do. Well, let's be clear here. Kobe still does have potential. Let's not. I get it that with your own players, you either overvalue them or undervalue them. And Kobe was bad when we needed him to be good this season. But there still is a lot of potential in Kobe White. Kobe White, 22 years old, right? The fact that he can score the way that he can now, completely it's not consistent, but the fact that he has that ability, the fact that he's taken leaps defensively this season, there's potential in Kobe. It's just that if the Bulls are trying to compete as soon as possible, you can only bet on potential for so long for a player like Kobe that's a bench player. Somebody like Patrick Williams is different because he's 20 years old. He's your fourth overall pick. You don't need him to do a lot. But in Kobe's role coming off the bench, the Bulls need scoring. And with him having an extension coming up, you can only bet on that potential for so long. Only for so long. Do you think Levine is worth bringing back on the max contract? Yes. Skull Crusher, yes. Zach Levine is worth bringing back on the max contract. Keep in mind, Zach Levine's knee thing is not structural. It's not like they're gonna have to reattach the ACL. It's not even as bad as Lonzo Ball's surgery, which his MCL surgery wasn't even that bad either. It's just because the healing thing is weird. I think we're overblowing it. He's going to have some knee issues over the course of the season. I mean, his career. There's going to be times where you have to rest Zach on back-to-backs. There's going to be times where down the stretch of the season, you have to, hopefully the team's good enough where you have to give Zach, and you can give Zach a couple of nights off at times. That's going to happen. But when Zach was on this season, I think people forget that. He wasn't healthy for a very long stretch of the season. Zach was close to the elite offensive 50, 40, 90. That is an elite. That is, by every stretch of the imagination, if you can reach the 50, 40, 90 position offensively, you're an elite offensive player. And Zach needs to learn to lock in defensively. He does need to learn to give that effort consistent on defense consistently. But yes, Zach is worth a max contract for sure. Ricky Fontaine says Kuzma sweaters than Kobe. That's funny. They're not giving up Devin Vassell for Kobe White. Listen, the Spurs are a smart organization. Now, if Devin Vassell was on freaking Sacramento, if he was on New York, if he was on, I don't know, some of the other dumber teams, you can probably get away with that. But San Antonio is not giving up Devin Vassell for Kobe White. That's not happening. Come on, guys, let the front office be the front office. We do enough as fans criticizing, let alone making trades. Well, no, I mean, you're gonna have, especially in offseason, you're gonna have conversations. So no, as much as I love Marvin, who changed his name from Marvin the Motivator back to Marvin's Perspective from the Other Side. No, it's cool to have talks. But the thing is that I want to do, and one thing that I try to always facilitate on this channel is let's have those conversations intelligently. Let's not just throw names out there. Let's actually look at the way that the contracts work. Let's look at the way that the team construction works. Look at how players actually fit on the team and how bringing in certain players can change the makeup of the team. That's one of the things with Rudy Gobert. Great defensive player, amazing defensive player. But what he lacks offensively is absolutely going to hurt the Bulls. And if you think the Bulls were easy to guard in this playoffs, is going to make the Bulls way easier to guard. So throwing the Rudy Gobert thing out there as a Vooch replacement, I think people again are more focused on bringing in somebody who doesn't do what Vooch, or who does what Vooch doesn't do, but lose sight of, all right, but those players also don't do anything that Vooch does offensively. And how is that going to affect the team going forward? So we can have those conversations. We should have those conversations, as natural as sports fans to have them. But let's try to be more intelligent in the way that we have them. That's all I'm saying. I hope we don't run it back with the same squad. Oh, it's going to be primarily the same squad. It's just going to be the bench. The bench is going to be completely overhauled. Really, on the bench, the only players that are coming, AC is coming back for sure. Io's coming back for sure. I'm not willing to say Kobe's coming back for sure. I'm not even willing to say Javonte's coming back for sure, because if a deal works and you got to throw in Javonte and you get a solid 4-5 or 5-4 who can come off the bench and is brings a lot defensively, I'm not even willing to say that Javonte comes back for sure. I think Javonte is coming back, but I'm not willing to say it's a surefire thing. Everybody else is gone. Tony Bradley, they're going to find a way to go. Troy Brown Jr., they're not offering him a contract. Matt Thomas isn't coming back. Malcolm Hill isn't walking back through that door. Tristan Thompson experiment failed. It's the bench that's going to have the biggest overhaul. But the starting five is going to be the starting five, at least I think, especially when you hear AK talk about things like continuity and things like that. Zach Lasagna, again, yeah, Bulls fans, we need Grant, we need Gobert, we need Mitchell, we need AD. Something that's popped up lately too, we need Oladipo. Now, what I will say, if you can convince Oladipo to come on a minimum contract, I wouldn't even give him the mid-level exception. Bring in Oladipo. But people were saying that Oladipo as a Zach Levine replacement. What type of weed are y'all smoking? What type of drugs are you guys using? Because guess what? I need it, especially getting over sickness. I need all of it. Send it my way. Because anybody who thinks that Victor Oladipo letting Zach Levine walk and signing Victor Oladipo is going to make the Bulls a better team, you're smoking some dope. Like you're smoking some shit that's not available to the public. Like you got some deep rooted issues there, fam. If that's, I'm not saying you, Zach Lasagna, because you didn't say that, but I'm just saying some Bulls fans. Let's see. Milan Mule, if another question, Zach Levine decides to move on and Jokic becomes available, would Acme package a deal surrounding Levine? Well, you can't, because if Zach Levine decides to leave, he's leaving. You can't you have no power in where you send Zach Levine and if he does leave, right? So it would have to mean that the Denver Nuggets were signing Zach, which they don't have cap space for. And guess what? If they're signing Zach Levine, it's to make that team a championship level team. They're not giving up Jokic then. So that deal is not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Tim Brazil, you said you don't know college ball. Who's a good comparison for Mark Williams? That's a good question. Honestly, and some people in the comments may correct me, but I would say Clint Capella. I would think that Clint Capella is a nice comp for Mark Williams with his raw talent. Now, he could develop completely differently, right? But I would say Clint Capella is probably a good comp. Somebody in the comments, let me know if you guys agree or disagree. If you have any better comps, I'm open to hearing. That's just off the top of my head. But yeah, I think that would be a good comp. I think that would be a good one. Julie says, hey, Haize in chat again. Hey, I'm sorry I missed you. I got caught up in other things. Absolutely. Yes, Javonte's collateral damage. If that means that's what it takes to get rid of Kobe, y'all crazy. That man. Hey, listen, I'm going to go back to this. Me and Ricky Fontaine are starting Chicago Bulls Central Weekly, which will be a Patreon exclusive video and podcast. So shout out to that. That will be starting around free agency. But I'm telling you guys right now, if Kobe White is on the roster at the start of the Bulls season, we're going to have the best episode ever, because I am trolling the shit out of Ricky. Like, Ricky is going to be pissed off. That man is going to be mad. Do you think Marko Simonovich will get more playing time with the Bulls next season? I think he can provide some valuable help. That's from Skull Crusher. Marco has to get hit those weights all summer, because Marco's thing was he was getting bodied when he was in NBA games last season. Marco's skill set is elite. Now, that doesn't mean make him an elite player. By skill set being elite, I just mean the ability to put the ball on the floor a little bit like he can, the ability to be a 3-level scorer like he can at his size, the ability to run the floor like he can. Now, if he puts on some weight, that may be something you have to sacrifice a little bit. His rebounding ability, All those things are an elite skill set. Now it's up for him to get to the be the player type that can make that. If he can translate that to being an NBA player that can do those things. But if he hits the gym and hits the weights and puts on some, Marco needs to put on 8 to 15 pounds of pure muscle over the course of the off season, and it can be done. It can absolutely be done. And best believe, AK and Eversley probably got him on a on a weight training and diet regimen that's meant to add lean muscle to Marco Simonovich. If he can do that, absolutely he's going to be in the rotation at least to start the season and see what he can give, depending on how else they figure out the bench. But I would say this: if Marco Simonovich is not on the main roster, getting minutes, at least 8 to 10 minutes a night, then it's a fail. His draft pick completely almost is a fail. Would like Mitchell, yes, but it's not realistic. I don't think the Mitchell Robinson. Keep in mind, Mitchell Robinson is on a mid-level extension or mid-level money deal now. So the mid-level exception is all we can offer Mitchell Robinson. He's already on that contract. He's going to be looking to get paid. Mitchell Robinson's 25. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let me do some quick Google search to see how old Mitchell Robinson is. Mitchell Robinson's 24. And he just turned 24 in April. So a 24-year-old player who has a lot of promise, is really good defensively, really good rebounding, really good at blocking shots. I'm telling you right now, Mitchell Robinson is not accepting another mid-level deal being at the age he is. So with that being said, the Bulls can't offer him anything more than that unless it's like a sign and trade and they can try to use Kobe, Javante, the things that we've talked about before. But I still don't think that that's realistic happen. I don't think that the Mitchell Robinson deal is realistic, but I would love it. Because Mitchell Robinson is a player who can play next to Vooch. He can play next to Patrick Williams. I don't think he would take over as starter. That's another thing. If Mitchell Robinson wants to start, because I don't think the Bulls are going to move Vooch to being off the bench. So with that being said, it's a lot of questions, right? It's a lot of question marks on if Mitchell Robinson is willing to accept certain things to play for the Chicago Bulls. Maybe the answers to those questions are yes, and we see him in the Bulls roster. I just don't think it's likely with what I've heard so far. So we'll see. I do want to say that this Bull season was great to me. First year, team full of injuries and other factors. We did good. I'm just going to trust AK to continue do what he does best. Absolutely. I agree with you there. Well, JDH, it depends. So JDH says if we don't get bench scoring, we're done before we even get started. It depends on what you mean by bench scoring. I don't think that the Bulls need necessarily to get a guy off the bench who can give them 10 and 15 every night. I think they need a couple of guys who can shoot the ball reliably, who can score reliably. If you get 2 to 3 guys off this bench that can get you 8 points, 8 points off the bench each, and average that over the course of the season, I think that's enough for the Chicago Bulls, considering how much offensive firepower that they have in the starting lineup. Ayo Dosunmu, can he take a leap offensively? Ayo was a scorer in college. Can he take a leap offensively as well? It's those type of things. I don't think that they need the 15 point per game score off the bench. Now I'm not gonna be mad if they go out and get that, right? But I think with what all the things the Bulls need to do with the bench this offseason, I don't know if they get that type of player to come off the bench, but they could, because as we know, AK and Eversley can do anything. Jonathan Washington Jr. says, I don't know how it would work cap wise, but I love a backup for like Bojan Bogdanovic from Utah. I think they definitely blow up that team. See, that's the thing. I don't think that they blow the team up. Here's why. Because while you have two players that they're starting to show that maybe they can't play together, maybe they don't want to play together, is that you only have to get rid of one of them. And if you get rid of one of them, you're still left with a hell of a team to do some things with and to make some improvements to still be at least where you were. I don't think that they're going to blow this team up yet. Donovan Mitchell, younger player than Zach Levine. When you have a player that young that can contribute and put up the type of nights that he can, while not a perfect player, you don't blow that up. You don't blow that up. So I think that to quote Gar Forman, that they're going to go into a retool, not rebuild. I don't think they're going to go into a rebuild right away. I don't think that they blow that team up in the way that maybe you mean. I think that they trade one of them, but I don't think that they're going to go into a big thing. MJ, not a trade rumor, but watching Ja, don't you think a healthy Derrick Rose would dominate with the spacing in the NBA today? Maybe not the Bucks since they crowd the paint, but everyone else for sure. Oh, a prime. Keep him. We've never even got to see a prime Derrick Rose, but yes, he would eat. Derrick Rose would feast in this NBA. Kopi with a great point here. I like to discuss trade rumors and stuff, but I think the Bulls are lucky we aren't GMs. People was really on that Jeremy Grant. Yeah, they was tripping, fam. They were really tripping on that one. Everyone, what do you, Rap God? Why are you pointing out Zach's unrestricted? We know Zach's unrestricted. Everybody knows Zach's unrestricted. Julius says the Tristan Thompson experiment was a disappointment. Absolutely, absolutely. No, Tyler, no, not at the 18th pick. If the Bulls would have had 22nd, 23rd, 24th, even then that probably would have been a stretch. Because Kofi isn't projected to go anywhere above the second round. Kofi, while he has some potential, I don't think he's going to be the player that some people are hoping Kofi's going to be. And while, yes, I know that we drafted the Illinois player last year, and that's gonna have some bulls. Oh, let's do another one. It's not that's would be so far of a reach for the Chicago Bulls, it'd be ridiculous. And even some mocks have Kofi not being drafted. So no, no. The Kofi thing, I can't get not at the 18th pick. Can't get if we had a second round pick, maybe. At the 18th pick, no. Robert Will. Ooh, I don't know. Don't know if I'm willing to say Mike Williams has a Robert Williams ceiling, but hey, I could be wrong. Haize, isn't Marco the same size as Giannis? I mean, even then, it's the makeup is the same. I know his arms aren't nearly as long as Giannis's. So Marco is 6'11, 220 pounds. But again, like I said, I know his wingspan can't be as long as freaking Giannis. Giannis has one of those ridiculous, like Giannis can scratch his kneecaps while standing straight up. What? Why are y'all making? What does it matter? What are you talking about? He's already signed one extension. Yes, we know he was a second round pick. No, Mitchell's going to try to get more than $7 to $8 million a year. That's almost what he's getting now. Mitchell Robinson. Let me give Mitchell Robinson his exact contract right now because he was a second round pick, much like with Io DeSumo, he got an extension earlier. And Mitchell Robinson's contract right now, he is on a let's see. Mitchell Robinson is on, yeah, he's on a four. Okay, he signed a 3 year. So yeah, oh wow, he's only getting paid that much. Wow. His average salary is 1.56 million. So yeah, Mitchell Robinson is looking to get paid. Let's be clear here. That man is looking to get paid. Talking about Kofi. That man Kofi is not worth the 18th pick. If AK drafts Kofi with the 18th pick, he needs to be fired. I don't give a damn how good he is. That would be the stupidest thing. Stupidest thing. I would love to see Derrick Jones Jr. for next year. Derrick isn't coming back. I tell you what, Derrick Jones Jr. is not coming back. And here's why. The Bulls never used him effectively. The fact that the best version of Derrick Jones Jr. that we saw was when he was playing backup center, which isn't a fault of him. Shout out to him for that because he came in and he did his thing. But Derrick Jones Jr. is going like there's going to be somebody that offers him more money than what the Bulls are probably going to willing to offer him, especially for how they use him. I love Derrick Jones Jr., but I think it's either going to be this. It's either Derrick Jones Jr. or Javante. If they trade Javante this offseason, I think that they try to keep Derrick Jones Jr. But I don't think both come back. I don't think see a world when they both come back. Listen, I'm telling you guys, like Mark Williams is the guy that I hope the Bulls draft. Now, again, I gave away. I stepped on my own content. I'll be going over some more prospects and things, but like when I do my draft prospect videos, Mark Williams is the first video I'm doing. Just a FYI on that one. 17, he averages 13.2 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 3.2 blocks in the tournament. Come on. He has one of the highest upsides in the draft, right? And the fact that the only thing that I worry about is maybe the tournament made his stock increase so much that somebody takes a flyer on him. Out just make hey, listen, a team. Oh, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, that's gonna be such a difficult thing to do. Yes, Zach will stay. I have a video on this, Armand Khan. He asked what would be our path if Levine leaves. I had a video where I talked about this already, but I'll touch on it a little bit here. The thing is that if Levine leaves, we're in so much better of a place than what we were when we traded Jimmy Butler away that I don't think that it will take the Bulls as long to get back to where they currently are as it did for the Bulls to get back to a playoff team after they traded away Jimmy Butler. So, I don't know as far as a direct path, I can't do that because AK and Eversley can get so creative. But I do think that if Zach does leave, it opens up the Bulls may trade Nikola Vucevic for anything young that they can get at that point. They may look at Debo and say, "Hey, we love you, Debo, and we'll probably keep you around for mentorship for at least another season." But when you're expiring contract, you may be out of here for a team that's trying to compete now. It opens up the doors for some of the other things. I think they may at that point keep Kobe because they then at that point may say, hey, we can afford to give Kobe another 18, 19 minutes per game to really see if something can develop in him. It really opens up the door for so much. But the thing is that I don't think it's going to take the Bulls as long to get back on path if Zach does leave as when we traded away Jimmy Butler. Team Brazil, Tim Brazil says, Haize, how do you address the Bulls fans that claim that the team is hopeless for a title because they think that Zach DeMar Vooch timeline is on? But they're idiots, and you guys know I don't hold my words at all. I don't. Anybody who thinks that the Bulls are hopeless and only think that the Bulls window, like those people who are preaching, we have a 3-year window because that's how long we signed DeMar for. They're idiots. They're idiots. The DeMar wasn't there. The signing of DeMar wasn't to say that that's our window. The signing of DeMar was to say, hey, the window's opening. This is we brought in somebody who can teach our players some things, who can get us ready. That is really just the opening of the window. If Zach Levine signs, our window is whatever that contract length is worth. And probably even further than that, looking at if Patrick Williams develops, looking at Lonzo Ball if he can stay healthy, looking at how Io develops, looking at whatever they do with the 18th pick, especially if they draft me and Ricky's guy and Mark Williams. That window, that 3-year window, now 2-year window, anybody who's so focused on that is an idiot. And I stand by that. Flat out, an idiot. Kopi says, if Zach leave us for the Spurs, I'm not even going to be mad, just disappointed. I mean, you got to look at the thing is that the Spurs, that's the thing. Like, and we don't really know what Zach's motivations are. If it's to get the most money, then it has to be the Bulls. Even if you look at it, if it's to compete and be as close to trying to win the title as possible, it almost still has to be the Bulls. The Spurs are a great organization, but Pop has 1 season left of coaching. So that throws everything completely into disarray because while you trust the Spurs to pick the correct next coach, who's to say that they're going to be able to get that team going as soon? So we'll see. We'll see. Barry, that's what we were already talking about, brother. So Barry asked, who would you say realistically we can target in the draft? I'm focused on Mark Williams from Duke. That's my focus. That's who I think needs to be the first on the draft board, in my opinion. Um, because I just looking at the kid and looking at everything that he brings, skill set wise, potential wise, the center, he's a position of need that either way, no matter where you stand on the Vooch thing, if you want to see Vooch go, if you want to see Vooch stay, long term, we're going to need another starting center within the next 2 or 3 years. Mark Williams checks every single box you can in that regard. What he projects to be defensively, Mark Williams has the chance to be one of those generationally good defensive centers. Again, not all potential is realized, but he absolutely has the chance to be that. Every box that I can look at that I want the Bulls to check off, he even like I said, I expect the Bulls to go, if they keep the pick, to go with best available, to go with the player that they think is going to truly have the best chance to turn into a star. Mark Williams checks every box on that. Now, because and this has been my whole Bulls career, my Bulls fandom. Every time I have somebody that I think is the perfect draft pick for the Chicago Bulls, they never draft. Now, sometimes that's worked against my favor. Like Joe, I did not want the Bulls to draft Joe Noah. I was an Al Horford guy in that draft. They drafted Joe. I was pissed off. Literally, I called my dad, going the fuck off. And that worked out for the Chicago Bulls. But I really do like Mark Williams. I really, really do like Mark Williams. Laxus Garza said, I don't think Zach will give Acme the problem of accept or lose for nothing type of sign and trade. Well, it's not up to Zach. It's up to the team. Let's keep that in mind. It's up to the team. Zach just gets to pick what team he wants to go to. But it's up to the team if they want to work it out for a sign and trade. So rather, if Zach doesn't have the option to give the team, if Zach decides to go to the Spurs and the Spurs say, hey, listen, it makes things a little bit financially better for us, and we can offer Zach a little bit more money. Bulls, if you work out the sign and trade, hey, we got a bunch of first round picks coming up. We can give you one of those. We can throw in somebody for you. Will you take that? And the Bulls may say, hey, it's better than not getting anything. You're giving us a first round pick for a player that we could have lost outright. Even if the pick only does end up being outside of the lottery, we'll take that first round pick. We know AK gets busy with first round picks. They'll do that deal. If you're talking about Kofi, I'm sorry, Jerry Johnson, that's just not smart. Kofi is not worth the 18th pick at all. Not all. Not even a little bit. Julia asked, is Rich Paul? Yes, Rich Paul is Zach Levine's agent. This is a great point as well from Ricky Fontaine. Williams doesn't mean Marco's gone. He just pushes him down the bench. And ultimately, if Marco does develop, like we said, Marco has a great skill set. Again, Nikola Vucevic is not long for the Chicago Bulls, regardless of where you sit on it. That expiring contract, even like he'll be 32 years old going to 33 when his contract expires. If he's continuing to showing that he's on a slump, even if the Bulls do say, hey, we still need that veteran presence, not Marco, Nikola, we'll give you a $7 million contract for 2 years with the second year being a player option. Let's say he takes that. Over those 2 years, you're developing Mark Williams to be your starting center and Marco to be the backup center. That's what you're doing. Ricky Fontaine, no, Mark Williams makes more sense than EJ Liddell. It's just EJ Liddell is more realistic if Mark Williams is gone. But good article read I see about Liddell on every Bull site. Yes, like EJ Liddell is probably second, right? In my hopes for the Chicago Bulls. If Mark Williams is gone and you get EJ Liddell, while that may be a bit of an overreach, because a lot of mock drafts have EJ Liddell going in the 20s. But again, in AK and Eversley, we trust. If they see that type of talent from EJ Liddell, he's not a bad pickup if Mark Williams is gone. Really, Mark Williams, EJ Liddell, trying to think who else realistically can be around that area. Jalen Duren from Memphis. If we're talking about big men, those kind of have to be around where the Bulls pick and probably your top three prospects there. Ricky, have you listen? While I agree that Jalen Duren has a top 10 pick potential, a lot of the mock drafts do not have him going that far. What? Okay, and listen. So, CJ, the truth. I'm going to address this because I see you bringing up height a lot. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear. It's not about height in this NBA. Have we not just seen? Have we not just seen somebody over in Golden State be a 6'6" or 6'7" power forward and done pretty damn good? It's not just about height. We got to stop being Vince McMahon. We got to stop going right to height with everything. It's not about height. It's about length more times than anything. And I believe EJ Liddell's wingspan, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you guys, keyboard warriors, is about 7 feet. EJ Liddell, with the way that if you've actually watched him play, can absolutely be a power forward in today's NBA. Absolutely. And then even if you don't think he can be, Patrick Williams can be a 4, and then EJ Liddell may be your 3 long term. I'm not mad at that. Come on, man. Reginald Short says, I think Stacey King had a good idea in getting Jackson Haize. It'll probably cost Bradley first and trade exception. Here's the thing. While I've been very clear, my first thing is I do think that the Bulls are going to try to move that 18th pick if they can get somebody who's been in the NBA, who you know where you can get something out of, and who can very much affect the bench. I don't know if Jackson Haize is worth an 18th overall pick though. Now, hey, listen, if it's just the pick and Bradley and you're bringing him in with a trade exception, because Bradley's doo-doo, right? Like trading Tony Bradley's like trading my t-shirt for a player. That's a non-factor. So at that point, you're really getting Haize for just the first round 18th overall pick. It just depends who's on the board. Because if Mark Williams is on the board by then, there's no way in hell that I'm giving up a chance to draft Mark Williams for Jackson Haize, in my opinion. Barry, Tristan was on a 1-year. They signed him for the bi-level exception, so he's gone. Right now he's a free agent. Haize, how long would you give Marco Cook to? Marco's going to get as much time as needed, right? Marco's whole 3 years here may be development. Now, I trust AK and Eversley to be true evaluators and say by the end of that time what Marco can and can't be. But like I said before, if Marco isn't giving you consistent minutes in the NBA next season, it's starting to be time for concern. If in his 3rd year, he's still not giving you consistent minutes in the actual NBA, no, fuck that. He got to go, in my opinion. Pablo says Shea got all the heights wrong. Shea, listen, I love Shea. Shea be getting heights wrong, though. It's like Shea be getting some things wrong. Like the time he said that Atlanta finished the season last season like we did, and they end up winning more than half their games at the end part of last season. But let me do something real quick. Let's take a look at some shit. Draymond Green is 6'6". He's listed as 6'6". So again, this is why when people go to height, I don't look at. Like, it's not just about height anymore. We are so far past the NBA meaning being just about height to determine position. This is why when everybody, Patrick Williams can't be a 4. Look at his height. No, absolutely, Patrick Williams can be a 4. Now that may not be the best position for him, but yeah. Also, hey, breaking news: Robert Covington agreed to a 2-year, $24 million contract extension with the Clippers. I didn't even know they can announce contract extension while the playoffs are still going on. That's crazy. Ben Simmons posted a post-surgery picture of him smiling. Bitch, you ain't played basketball in over a year, and when you did, you look like a hoe. You should not be smile. Bitch ass niggas should never smile. Damn it. Fuck. Shit. Anyway, people like Ben Simmons should never smile in public. Because listen, you got to show it on the court before you can smile. Like, what the fuck are you smiling about? What are you smiling about? Antonio Victor, no, that's not true. That's two completely different things and two completely different situations the team were in. So no, Jimmy not signing to the max has nothing to do with Zach signing to the max. Let me break this down for you. Here's the difference. Garpax did not know how to build around Jimmy Butler. They admitted so. That's why they traded Jimmy Butler. They would have absolutely given Jimmy Butler the max, but they were some two fucking dumbass idiots who didn't know how to build around a budgeting superstar. The difference with Zach Levine is this team just built and spent a lot of money giving up 5 draft picks to build around Zach Levine. They will absolutely give Zach Levine the max. Come on now. That's just not intelligent, brother. That just was not an intelligent comment. I believe P. Will has a post-up game that hasn't even been discovered yet. I like to see Billy use him down low on the blocks next season. All the little things to get the ball in his hands a little bit more. P. Will, I will say this: he did flash, not like traditional post moves, but he did show some creativity in the post. Also, when he takes the shot, like his 3-point shot is aggressive, is beautiful. He just needs to shoot a little bit quicker. As far as the release, but at 20 years old, you really like it's so much untapped potential with Patrick Williams that really, depending on how they try to develop him, you can almost see him learning just about anything. Brooklyn really got all the players who just don't want to play. I'm telling you guys, listen, at some point in time, it may be after his career, it may be randomly in the middle of his career. Kyrie Irving is going to move to the desert and become Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, you won't see him. You won't say, like, when Kyrie retires, we're never seeing Kyrie Irving again. I'm telling you, we will never see him. He may pop up occasionally for like a 20th anniversary type thing or whatever else. We will never see Kyrie again after he retires. He's going to move to the desert, become Obi-Wan Kenobi, live off vegetables and whatever else he does and bugs like Timon and Pumbaa. And he's literally going to have an assortment of animals following him everywhere he goes. He's going to be like Moses. We will see Kyrie Irving appear out of the Arizona desert with goats, giraffes, an elephant, something random like a damn, what's something that's extinct. He'll find one of them motherfuckers. A whale in the desert, find a way to keep that motherfucker alive. You can see Kyrie Irving with the Jedi hoodie on coming out of the desert riding a whale. That's what's going to happen when Kyrie retires. Ben Simmons, I just don't even fucking know, bro. I don't even know what to say anymore. Oh yeah, Kawhi will never be seen again either. Listen, Kawhi will never be seen again. Like Kawhi, you know what? Kawhi is gonna be kind of like Oscar Robinson is now. Like, you'll see him occasionally. Well, you know how he was. You'll see him occasionally. He'll pop up. Spurs anniversaries, he'll pop up. He'll randomly pop up at like a WNBA game at some point after he retires. But the Kyrie appearances are gonna literally be far and few between. And it's gonna be so shocking. It'll be like ESPN announcers be like, is that Kawhi in this? Wow. Roberto, good channel. Roberto from Brazil. I think so. The Bulls need to contract a good center because Vooch and Patty Williams does not power to defend on the. No, Patrick Williams is fine defending in the paint. Vooch is fine when you put him in the right position as well, but we still do know that they need a defensive center as well. Pop, what? I'm fighting my urges. Like I just had me and Petty Roosevelt just had a whole conversation in my head right now. Like literally, we were like Moon Knight. We just had a whole entire conversation right now. I almost went full Petty on you. Come on, Pablo. Because I know you got to be playing, man. I know you got that's the and he's just said he was joking. I was about to say, I know Pablo's been around here a long time. I know Pablo is way smarter than that. That literally just sent so much fire through my body. Wow. Which player would you say is the weakest link of the team? Kobe White. No. Well, Tony Bradley absolutely was the weakest link on the team because he's Tony fucking Bradley. What? All right. Whoa. This is from Billy Mill. It's funny knowing that Philly has to pay hard in the max and a lot of no, they don't have to. Keep in mind, he did make the last year's contract. He accepted that, so he will be there next season. But I don't think that they listen. I don't think that they give Harden the max at all. I don't think that they give it. Ah. Bro almost turned into split. He fought off Patricia and the beast. I'm out. Man, listen. Oh man. Oh, listen, Pablo's good. Pablo knows how to grind my gears. That's it. No, but Pablo's a good dude. He's Pablo's fam. He's been around here for a while. That's why he said what he said. Some people have been around here for a minute try to get Petty Roosevelt to come out. Haize, did you refer to as who did you refer to as Fraggle Rock again? Oh, Gar Foreman. He's Fraggle Rock. What happened? Bob Pablo and Jonathan getting into a back and forth. Oh, Ricky. Ricky, go ahead and drop your 3-team trade idea for Bradley Bill. I would love to see what the chat thinks about it. I feel like if this from Jonathan Washington Jr. I feel like if the Bulls were to move off of Billy Donovan next season, it'd be better for them to go after a young up and coming coach than these big name guys, Sam Cassell, Devin Harmon. I've said that too. Like I don't know if you've seen like almost any time I talk about Billy Donovan's coming back next season. But if they do decide to move on for Billy Donovan, I don't want to see them go after a big name. I want and I trust that AK and Eversley are doing their research. They're going to sign the the next best coach possible, the young and up and coming coach. I've always compared it to Eric Spoelstra, right? Eric Spoelstra has been in the Heat organization for years, but when they announced him as the head coach, nobody knew who the hell Eric Spoelstra was. And look, he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. That's what I think they're going to do. This is no, this is a dumbass trade. Well, first of all, you got so many letters in your name. No, that's a dumbass trade. It's not, and it's not realistic. Stop with that. That's just dumb. That's just idiotic. Just stupid. You're not getting the mob sent at me for that trade. Nope, it takes too long to explain. No, I honestly think that the people here would get it. I honestly think they would get it. I thought it was Udoka. I was hoping we'd sign him before we went with Billy D, but I'm still satisfied with the coach we have. I was really liking the they made Udoka thing as well. I think that they signed Billy Donovan not only because he was a name, but because they knew that they were going to need some development. And Billy Donovan was a good coach to really evaluate the young talent who was on this team at this time. Keep in mind when Billy Donovan did come in, we still had the Wendell Carters, we still had the Laurie Marketings, we still had a lot of these young players that we just couldn't truly evaluate because they had been playing under Jim Boylan. So I think that they knew that Billy Donovan was a good coach to give them time to evaluate that, and they did, and they made their moves. Yes, Tony Bradley has a player option, so he's accepting the player option. He's still not going to be here. Keep in mind, even if he does accept it, it's only a $1 million deal. So even if the Bulls can't trade him, they can cut him, and it's not like it's going to be a huge hit. So Sweaty Bloke says, "Do I hate you? Why would I hate you, Sweaty Bloke? What are you talking about?" Shay says, "Will you pick up Harrison Barnes?" Oh, if Harrison Barnes is accepting a veteran minimum deal, yes, 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 absolutely. You never respond to my messages anymore. What I miss, man? If I missed it, honestly, I just missed it. It wasn't because I saw you miss it on purpose, bro. Go ahead and leave it again. What's your idea on how Patrick Williams will play next season? Do you see a breakout type of way? Listen, the fact that he's working with DeMar this summer, even the fact of the flashes that we did see from Patrick Williams and the improvements that we did see over the course of his 18 games that he played this season, I do think that it's possible. I'm not willing to call it quite yet, but I do think it is absolutely possible that we see a breakout season for Patrick Williams next season. Who you got, Milwaukee or Boston? If you would have asked me after the first game, I would have said it would have been Milwaukee, and Boston really didn't have a chance. But after that second game, I would like to see Boston go forward. Absolutely, I would like to see it. So are we allowed to trade the 18th pick or do we keep it? Isn't it a rule that restricts teams from trading back to back? Okay. I'm glad that you asked this so I get a chance to explain this because one of the dumbasses, Michael Cunningham, something is he got put in mute because he was a dumbass. But so the way that the rule works is that you can't trade back to back picks before the draft. During the draft, you can trade it. So technically, what would have to happen is that the Bulls would technically make their draft pick. They'd make the 18th pick, but they'd be making it for whatever team that they worked out the trade for. They then trade it. They can trade it during the draft. They just can't trade it before the draft. So once the bell rings, I don't even know if they actually ring a bell, and the NBA draft starts, they can trade that pick. They just can't trade it before the actual draft starts. Oh, he did it. All right. So this is Ricky Fontaine's trade idea. Bulls trade Zach to the Spurs. Wizards trade Bill to the Bulls. Spurs trade Vassell draft picks to the Wizards. Bill contract is up in 2023, and so is Jokic and Vooch and Bulls and Vooch and Bulls sign Jokic, re-sign Bill. My fantasy. Listen, I would say this, like I said before, the likelihood, and you even admitted, the likelihood of this happening is slim to none. But if that did happen, if the front office was in some way, if Zach was going to leave anyway, and they somehow turned that into getting Bradley Bill from the Washington Wizards to make it a 3-team deal, and then ended up signing Jokic, listen, greatest front office of all time. Greatest front office of all time. There will literally be Bulls fans when all of that goes down, whacking off on live streams. Literally. Literally. Reginald Shore, why are you asking me about the Lakers? I don't give a damn about Hairline James. I don't give a damn about the Clippers. I don't give a damn about none of that. They could trade Hairline James away for a bag of potato chips and the ghost of Kobe Bryant. I wouldn't give two goddamn fucks. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what they do with LeBron. I hope they can trade LeBron to China. Trade Hairlines. I don't give a fuck what they do with LeBron James. I don't give two flying fucks. As long as he stays the fuck away from Chicago. That's it. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. I don't give a damn about LeBron. I don't give a damn about that hairline. I don't give a damn about AD and his weak ass knees. I don't give a damn about none of that bullshit that the Lakers got going on. Keep that shit far the fuck away from my Chicago Bulls. That's all I can ask. That's all I can ask. Jonathan Washington Jr. says, "Do you think Jordan Poole emerging makes it more likely that the Warriors?" I don't think that they trade Clay. They're going to keep Clay and Steph together. They're going to retire right off into the sunset together. Kobe turning into a Jaylen Brown type of player? Fuck no. Listen, I love Kobe White. I love Kobe White. But I'll tell you one thing. If Kobe White turns into Jaylen Brown type player, that shit, yeah, listen, you got better chances of turning into a LeBron. You physically turning into LeBron, not getting LeBron skills. You physically morphing into LeBron James is a better chance of that happening than Kobe White turning into a Jaylen Brown type player. MC Season, what's going on, my brother? He really said into Jay, like, hey man, listen, hey, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know how to call it. I don't even know. I don't even know. Well, we don't have to trade Zach. Come on, y'all got to understand free agency. I really need y'all to understand free agency before you start asking questions like this. Like, Zach is an unrestricted free agent. So what that means, the Bulls can't decide who they trade him to. Either they can hope that whoever he decides to sign to does a sign and trade, or they re-sign him. That's it. Those are your two options. That's it. They have no choice in who they trade him to. The Bulls can't say, hey, look, Zach, you're an unrestricted free agent. We're sending you to New York. It's not how the free agency works. This is never going to happen. This is not going to happen. They both play the same position. And you keep, I don't want to hear shit about Jello Ball. That no, it's not happening. MC season. Oh wait, how did I get here? MC season. We talked heavily about Kuzma towards the 20-minute mark of the stream, so you may want to go back to that. I don't want to rehash it just for the people who've been here the whole time, but we talked heavily about Kuzma there for a minute. Clips. First of all, you're not a god if you're saying that. That's stupid. That's dumb. Zoe can't create his own. Oh yeah, you don't watch basketball. Stop playing 2K. Matter of fact, just for how stupid that is, you gotta go on timeout. You gotta go on timeout. Tony Bradley is the next Shaq. Yeah, Shaq, the year he retired. What the fuck is y'all smoking, man? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, seriously. The fact that I don't give a damn if it was a joke. The fact that you, with your fingers that God gave you, right? Your mama raised you better than this. Your mama did not raise you for you to be in YouTube comments saying that Tony Bradley is the next Shaq. That's not, your mama didn't do that. Like, bro, she didn't breastfeed you or even bottle feed, whatever your mama decided to do. She didn't put Similac in your mouth so that you can survive childhood for you to type shit like that. That's not what, that's no, what? Come on, fam. Like I said, even if it was a joke, come on, man. Come on. Come on. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? What are we doing, man? What are we doing? What would happen if you don't want Tony to do any type of fusion dance with Marco because Tony, like, no, nobody who as a grown man can get picked up in a game and carried and still be talking shit as you're getting carried away by another grown man. You don't want to fuse nothing with that shit. Nothing. Frenchie in the building says Tony is the next Shaq. I'm weak. What? Come on, man. Come on. Come on, Hayes. Would you rather have Kobe White, who's inconsistent with shooting and a liability on defense, or Jello, a 3-point shooting? Listen, no. I don't give a listen, Jello ain't he hasn't proved it in the NBA. I don't give a fuck what he did in the G League. I don't and Antonio Blakeney looked like the next Jordan in the G League. That shit don't mean shit to me. There are 30 GMs in the NBA. 30 of them. If one of them thought that Jello was anything worth being on an actual NBA roster, it would have literally made their season. No, I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. Anything Jello did in the G League. No. Jello is not ready to be. He may be at some point, but he's not ready to be an NBA player at this level. Two of my students just got into this is from Nick Tolliver. Two of my students just got into a fight during the disciplinary precautions. I told one of them who started it, I call his mom. He said, I don't care. Help me. I don't care. Help me. I'm about to have an out of body experience, y'all. Listen, this is why I can't deal with and all my family members know your kids can't stay with me unless I can check them. That's why I can never work with kids because I'd be fired in a week. Because the moment a kid says some dumb ass shit like that to me, I'd be like, listen here. I'm gonna have to beat you and your daddy's ass just because of that. Hayes, I know there are problems with money in this model, but if the Bulls got Mitchell Robinson level player, a 3-point shooter, and wing depth, what is the ceiling for this team? Well, I need to know who those players are, right? Because a lot of people like Matt Thomas is a 3-point shooter in theory. I need to know what the actual players are before I can say anything about a type of ceiling. Pablo Amada says, Hayes, if the Bucks gets bounces around, maybe Wesley Matthews is an option for the Bulls. It's possible. Depends on what money. Everything really boils down to what if they're willing to accept the veteran minimum. I'm not turning my neck down to too many people. No, we talked about this. Kofi Cockburn is not. No, the Bulls have the 18th overall pick. Kofi Cockburn isn't worth any of that. And keep in mind, even the Bulls were to buy a second round pick, they'd immediately forfeit it because our next available second round pick we have to forfeit. So no, Kofi is not coming in, unless which he may be undrafted, and then we can sign him. But that's about it. Listen, Gio Hayes, you must admit this. Troy Brown, I'm sorry, not Troy Brown. Tony Bradley is a better free throw shooter than Shaq. But then again, my dog is a better 3-point shooter than Shaq, and he doesn't have hands or thumbs. So yeah. If we could have gotten Nance instead of Derrick Jones Jr. in the trade, do you think we would have maybe had a better season considering towards the end Derrick Jones Jr. was out of the rotation? Well, Derrick Jones Jr. was out of the rotation because of health. But the way the things went down with this season, I don't think Nance helps that. Now, he does help, especially during the season. He helps alleviate some things. He probably would become the starting power forward once Patrick Williams went down. He's a good player, but I don't know if he helps with the Bulls ultimately went down. Whose last name? Who are you talking about? The Reinsdorfs are never selling the team. Well, let me not say never, but it may not happen in either of our lifetimes. They're not selling it. And Michael, I think it is more likely to spend money than what Jerry was, for sure. What do you think the likelihood of Acme bringing back Kobe is? AK did say he wants continuity, but I prefer to see Kobe packaged to bring in a better replacement. The thing is that it really boils down to how much they can improve this bench. Because if they improve this bench and they look at it and say, hey, we can afford maybe Kobe to be inconsistent, and the nights that Kobe's on is going to give us that much more. They could improve it to the point to where they improve everything else around it to where they don't mind keeping Kobe for another season. They also could look at it and say, Kobe's an $8 million contract that we can use to bring in somebody who's way more consistent than Kobe does. Oh, saying Cockburn remembers that you at that time you had to go to the doctor, huh, Ricky? I understand, bro. I understand how it is, man. Listen, I understand, bro. You told the doctor it was rug burn, didn't you? You told him it was rug burn. I'm gonna move right along. To be honest, I doubt Zach will leave, but with the team we have now, at least we can still do some stuff if we grab the right pieces. If he last season would be truly in shambles. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, and I talked about that earlier too. Definitely talked about that earlier. Ricky B. Burning, pray for you, brother. Oh man, that is funny. Jello couldn't even get a 10-day contract during the COVID breakout. Man, listen, do you hear me? This is why, like, listen, I love Ball family fans, right? People who are just fans, but Ball family stands literally lose their like. There was somebody in the chat once who got so pissed off that I said Jello isn't ready to be an NBA player that they left. I don't think they ever came back. Like, you got to be realistic. There's just like Keith, who's always in the comments. That motherfucker doesn't know basketball to save his life. Ricky said, "I don't put my business in the streets." A little antibiotic cleared it up in 5 days. Oh man, that is hilarious! Wow. Woo. Reginald Short, good question. This may be the last question of the stream. Which former Bull of the last 20 years would make a good head coach? Kirk Heinrich. Kirk Heinrich. Period. That's always going to be my answer. Kirk Heinrich. I'm so surprised that Kirk is not in coaching right now. I completely expected Kirk Heinrich to become a coach at some point. Definitely expected it. MC Season says Ball family stands are a different breed. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Not gonna lie, don't want nobody from the G League if they don't average 40 points. They balling on scrubs compared to NBA talent. Not scrubs, but Jello will not be good in the NBA and he doo-doo. Listen, I fully expect, in all realism, Jello may have a Seth Curry like career. Remember how Seth he initially came in, had some hype. People thought he was going to be the next Seth Curry, and then or Steph Curry, and then he had to go away for a while. He came back. He's not like a great player, but Seth Curry is a solid rotational player, and that may be Jello's future. We don't know. He may have to, do some things for the next couple of years to come back to find a way to get into the rotation. Wow. They fixed my oh wow. How the fuck did we get here? We're moving right along. Right the fuck along. Wow. What's your preferred position of the draft? Center, backup, or shooting? I don't have a preferred position in the draft. I think that they are going to go best available. I'm not focused on. Now, I do think that Mark Williams as a center may be the best available by then, but I think they're going to go best available regardless of position. But all right, y'all. We've been live for 100, hour and 13 minutes. I'm going to let you guys get a couple of comments in. Anything left, hit the like button. Come on, man. It don't take nothing to hit the like button. Come on, hit that like button, y'all. Help your boy out. But we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap that stream on up. Like Ricky apparently needs to wrap it up. But, we just going to keep that moving. Man. No problem, JDH. I don't know if you got to see the video earlier, which videos like pre-records have been doing terrible just because it's off season and the algorithm for anything that's not an NBA playoff team sucks right now. But I did answer your voicemail in the mailbag today, JDH. Damon says, okay, hey, stay up, bro. Absolutely. You too, fam. What Gio? Why do we need more guards? We don't need any more guards. We don't need any more guards. We don't. I highly doubt guards is going to be one of the preferred positions. Um, I'll check it out. Yeah, it's the second mailbag question, and I get in pretty much in details. It takes up the majority of the video. So, but all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys so much, man. We'll do these. Like I said, I'm gonna I don't want to commit to it, especially if it gets completely dead. But we'll probably try to do one random live stream a week like this during the off season, with it ramping up as we get closer to the draft, closer to the off season. I'll probably do a live stream during the draft, and then we'll go and stay on afterwards. But yeah, so that's it. But all right, y'all. Appreciate you guys so much. Like I like to end everything on Go Bulls. See red, don't be red, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. Hit the like button. But I appreciate you guys, man. Peace, y'all.